gigantic.
Is October 1st, 2023, and this is the Gigantic Pop Podcast, episode number 5. Today, we're talking about Hulk Hogan, talking about Rocky III, No Holds Barred, falling in love with the WWF and the world of professional wrestling as a child in the 80s. And we'll also get a little bit into what I think is one of the greatest sitcom episodes of all time, which I think Raj now has some modern day experience with investing in the stock market. So I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined as always by Raj Giri and Matt Morgan. Guys, it's been a week and Raj made us watch this piece of shit movie, No Holds Barred.
Oh my God. What a great piece of shit movie though, right?
Is it though?
It is.
At the time it was just simply because Hulk Hogan was not in red and yellow. And that's the first time I've ever seen him not in red and yellow.
He's wearing the blue and white. Rip Rogers.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Now,
Stan Hansen.
Yes, backstory on this. Originally, we were going to do No Holds Barred and They Live, and Roger's like, I haven't seen They Live. And it's like, what the fuck haven't you seen They Live? They Live is an amazing film.
No, I saw it. I saw it 30 years ago. I just remember they have to wear sunglasses.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
And
So I have to rewatch it.
So we'll talk about They Live at a later date. But I rewatched Rocky III yesterday. Always a delight.
Greatest of all time.
That's torn on this.
It's a toss-up between that and 4 for me.
Oh,
Really?
Really close to me, both of them. But like Clubber Lang, I mean, it's just you can't go wrong by saying that's the best either. You can't.
Rocky 3 or Rocky 1?
3.
Yeah.
3.
I think entertainment value 3 for sure.
Well, 1 is a much different movie. 2 is a much different movie. I mean, this is just me being a little bit of a film nerd because we've been rewatching, or we've been watching some movies I'd never seen before from the 70s. Rocky 1 and 2 are very much 70s movies. They're slow, they're deliberate, there's a lot of like talking. Well, I mean, I don't know. You ever watch The Conversation or The French Connection or Black Sunday? Like, there's some good stuff there, but some of these movies, they're just kind of depressing. But remember, we were just coming out of Vietnam, Watergate. Like, the U.S. was not. Like, it was not the Reagan era. And I think that Rocky 3, Rocky 4 show a renewed optimism that the country was experiencing at the time. And I think most movies of the 80s do, which is interesting.
What is the first entertaining movie you've seen that's just entertaining all the way through? I think it's Rocky 3 for me.
When did E.T. come out?
82.
Ooh, 82.
For me, it was
that's
E.T.
there. Yeah, that's.
For me, it was Flash Gordon. I saw that in the theater.
Wait, what year was that?
Flash Gordon, I want to say it was 81 or 80. Let's see.
That's my first.
Yeah. 1980, because I saw that when I was 4, and I was just like jumping up and down and cheering. And my parents were like, yo, this kid's really into this movie.
I don't want to start this now, but I've never seen it.
Wait, okay.
You have to. You have to.
Like, as a kid, I saw Star Wars, and I was like, Star Wars is cool, and I like that he swings on the rope and the thing and the lightsabers. Like, that's really neat. Yeah. But Flash Gordon with the Queen music and everything, I mean, Flash Gordon is a comic book, not like, I mean, it's amazing. Oh, and by the way, so I'm at Subway the other day getting a sandwich, and a man comes up to me. Raj, you're not going to get this at all because you've never seen the movie. But a man comes up to me and he's like, what's your favorite football team? And I'm like, oh, I don't like where this is going. And I'm like, I guess the Raiders because we're in Vegas. And he rolls up his sleeve to show me a New York Jets tattoo. And I'm like, oh, the team that Flash Gordon played for. And nothing, no reaction. Jets tattoo doesn't even get the time. And this guy was older than me, so I was very disappointed. And he just wanted to talk to me about the New York Jets while I politely nodded and pretended I knew what he was talking about.
He should have known that, especially if he was older. You should have got
that. Raj, watch Flash Gordon. That's your assignment for the week. But no, Rocky 3, but even Rocky 3, though, it was entertaining. But I remember as a kid, what stuck with me was the scene where he's like throwing the helmet at the statue. And that's the first time I sort of understood like frustration, disappointment, rage. That was the first time I'd really seen that communicated in a film.
It's a good call. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking at the time, right? But I do. That is one that sticks out. That's a very, very iconic and iconic scene actually at this point. Yeah.
But the amazing thing though, watching it, and when Mr. T is like not in it as much as you think, at least for the first act.
Yeah. It's like 5 scenes, really.
But he was so red hot then, and he was getting even hotter that like you don't remember that as a kid. Or as a kid, you think he's in this movie the whole damn time until I just watched it again. And you're right. That's one thing that stuck out to me. He wasn't in as much as I thought he was back when I watched it as a kid.
That's like No Holds Barred when I rewatched it. Like Zeus is in
Zeus,
like
right?
He's hardly in it.
I know.
And he's the best part of that movie.
Hogan's barely in it for like in the first half hour. There's like 20 minutes about, hey, do you want to watch the guy that played Rob Lowe's sidekick from Wayne's World with his frustrations running a network and now he's going to compete with professional wrestling? Then you're going to love No Holds Barred.
Oh man.
But so to that point though, with Rocky 3, the big thing, I mean, absolutely one of the best Rocky films. Really, I know you like 5, Raj. Or like 5's the only one that I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this again.
I like it the least.
You like?
What's that?
You like the one with Tommy the Duke Morrison?
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either, but it's nothing in comparison to
No. It's not. Okay. It's 5 of 5. You know, like of the last of the 5.
Would you pick 5 better over 1? Raj?
Wait. Whoa, hold on a second. This is going to be a dangerous answer that he's even contemplating.
As far as rewatchability, yeah, I think so.
For rewatchability, I agree with that too.
You guys are insane.
Yes, because you said it earlier. It's too slow in the beginning,
and one is kind of boring for a while. Like but you get into it as it goes along.
It's really the story though, and even the fact that we talked about this like with the Bad News Bears, another 70s film, like the fact he doesn't win at the end. There's the idea that like he went on this journey and he was a nobody and became a somebody even without winning, like the message of it. But you have to be in the right mood for it. You have to be in the right mood to watch it. It's not like if you show that to a child, they're going to be like, this is boring. Please, can I play Fortnite? This is so dull. But
I could put on Rocky 3 or Rocky 4 for my kids and they'll sit through it and they'll watch the whole thing.
One, they're going to be like, this
Rocky
feels like
1,
homework.
no way.
Right.
Yeah.
Want to give some quick shout outs. We got good live audience today. Veggie Gamer, BPE 592 009, Gotti Jr. What's up? Stellar Justin Lopez, David Mack, George Georgis, Nadir. Great to see you all joining us today. I know we're pre-gaming for AEW Wrestle Dream a little bit tonight with this stream. Veggie Gamer saying controversy 4 is by far the worst. Wow. 5 is like Shakespeare compared to the robots.
Are you kidding me? I based my damn Blueprint character that I tried to sell Vince McMahon one time on that Ivan Drago training scene. But
4, yeah. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, nothing. Just that I thought that was the best built-up heel. He killed Apollo Creed for crying out loud. For that pissed me off. That hurt. It still hurts when I watch it now. But it makes it all the more sweeter when he beats him and does it in Russia. He turned the entire country. Around. Come on.
He turned Gorbachev around.
Yes.
You know what's funny? As a kid watching the Rocky films, I always had the thing where I was like, man, Paulie's an asshole. And then as an adult and watching it now, I'm like, Paul, like somebody should have just put him down. Like he's the worst person. Like, I mean, perhaps definitely in the Rocky series, he's the worst, but it's just like, why does he keep hanging out with him? Even in Rocky Balboa, he doesn't really redeem himself. He's just like the last one left alive.
He's stuck because it's Adrian's brother.
Yeah. And he's terrible to her.
He was.
But he wasn't as terrible to her later. Like he was in the first.
No. Yeah. The first he was calling her ugly and undateable. He was horrible.
Yeah. He's awful.
But we all know like that family member where it's just kind of like, we got to have him over for Thanksgiving, regardless. It's family.
I had the thought, I was like, I wonder if Sylvester Stallone wrote that and it's like a subtle dig at Frank Stallone, where he's like, this is how I see you. This is why I have to put your music in all my movies.
Maybe.
Or else you're gonna
there was one movie where there was no Frank Stallone. You could tell they had the falling out there.
Yeah. Which is weird, but Far From Under, though, from Staying Alive, is by far Frank Stallone's best song. Now, Stallone directed Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. But it's interesting that like all his other music is so forgettable.
No, Sylvester Stallone directed it.
Sylvester Stallone directed it. Yeah. And that's what Frank Stallone did the theme to Staying Alive. But
the song Staying Alive?
No, not the song. Movie. No. When you watch Staying Alive, he has that song. I know if you Matt, you'll know it if you hear it. The song "Save Me, Darling," Far From Over. Like you'll know it if you hear it. It's like I'd play it right now. We'll get a copyright strike. Like it is a get pumped like 80s song. It's in the opening montage of Staying Alive, and it's amazing. But yeah, so what I wanted to talk about though about this, because here's the wrestling tie-in for anyone that's seen Rocky 3, and for us who were all like 5 and 6 years old when this came out in 83. This is the first time most kids in America saw professional wrestling represented and really understood the idea of this larger than life character, this larger than life style of fighting. And Hulk Hogan playing Thunder Lips was everyone's first exposure. And it's kind of crazy because I remember everybody loved Mr. T coming out of this. And Mr. T definitely was the breakout star, but a lot of people would talk about in the year or two that followed in the build up to WrestleMania, when WWF decided to push Hulk Hogan, everyone would be like, oh yeah, it's that guy from Rocky 3.
Yes.
And Mr. T from Rocky 3. And without this movie, I mean, famously, Vince McMahon Sr. fired Hulk Hogan for doing this movie. Vincent Kennedy McMahon hired him back because of his popularity from this movie. Without this movie, I don't know that Hulk Hogan becomes Hulk Hogan as the face of professional wrestling in the 80s.
It's a good point. Yeah, one could say that. Vince needed him. Vince Jr., needed him as the catalyst to start what he ended up starting and going national and all that other stuff, just even with number 1 WrestleMania to begin with. But think about all the ish against the wall that he threw. And I don't mean ish disrespectfully. I mean huge celebrity stars with, like we just talked about a couple weeks ago, in Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T. All these huge. Muhammad Ali was the friggin' outside referee. Like what? Like they were stacked with major stars. And it all had to happen in order for it to take off. But Hulk had to have been the catalyst for every bit of that.
Yeah, and you hear about like how they thought about like Gorilla Monsoon for that role.
Superstar Billy Graham.
Superstar Billy Graham, which Billy Graham would have been a
wait, whoa, for whose role?
Thunder Lips.
Yeah, for Hogan.
Gorilla Monsoon. They were gonna have Gorilla be like the Thunder.
I don't think he would have been Thunder Lips, but he would have been the wrestler.
Big, huge ogre. Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I mean, Hogan was perfect. Like that, you can't. I can see Superstar Billy Graham in that role, but like no one else. It was so.
I can't imagine Dusty Rhodes like as Thunder Lips.
Thunder Lips, baby.
but the height differential between Stallone and Hogan in the beginning on their face-off, it was just monumentally impressive.
Like he could have done Andre, but you couldn't have.
He couldn't have beaten Andre. I mean, he could. Like, you can't pitch that Balboa. Yeah. Well, actually, for that, Stallone couldn't pick him up. Hogan had to jump onto his shoulders to up there. Why the rest again? Like, how many times does Hogan say meatball in that scene when he's yelling at him? Like it's
I'll get you meatball.
Yeah, almost as many times as they repeat "Eye of the Tiger" in that film. The phrase, you know.
Do you ever hear that rumor that "Eye of the Tiger" was made for Karate Kid and that "You're the Best"?
Talked about this literally on like 2 episodes ago.
But then when you hear the lyrics, I just don't think that's true.
No, "You're the best." The line "History repeats itself." That's what it's referring to. It was written for Rocky 3. Also, it's weird that they use Eye of the Tiger twice. That they use it in the opening montage and they use it in the comeback montage. I always thought it was just the comeback montage.
Because Clubber Lang beating up people to "You're the Best" doesn't make sense. Because you know, like with the Eye of the Tiger,
opening montage does,
because he has the Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah. But the opening montage where they're just showing him like doing the Amex commercial and doing all the other stuff, you could have had that as "You're the Best." And that would have worked fine. But
you're showing Mr. T killing people during that time.
Yeah, I know. Well, originally Stallone wanted Queen's Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah.
Good. Would have been a good choice too. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think this was too early to have him lose after being the champion that got too big for his britches and maybe took his eye off the ball a little bit and loses? Do you think that was too early in the movie series to have an L?
I mean, he doesn't really... I'm trying to think, does he? I mean, he doesn't lose in 4. He doesn't lose in 5. It's a street fight. In Rocky Balboa, it's a draw or split decision.
No, he loses.
Yes,
he loses.
But it's actually similar to the first film.
But he's like 80 years old when he loses.
Yeah, that don't count. Yeah,
right.
You guys realize Rocky Balboa was 15 years ago. Think about that. Like we all thought Stallone was super old then. Like Expendables 4 just opened at the box office. He's still going. You know?
You know what? I don't think so. I feel like it was the right time because he was almost 40 at that time, right? Yeah, when 3 came out.
And
wow,
we find that. Yeah, I know. Isn't it weird though how they used to treat that?
I did not think he was. Wow.
We play
and he looks better and better as he got older. Like he looked the best he's ever looked in Rocky 4. Like you know, just in general, you compare him to Rocky 2, and he's kind of pudgy and stuff in Rocky 2, and you look at him in Rocky 4, he's just like cut, defined.
Looked amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, we play a game in this household when we're watching a movie from the past, which is guess how old this person is when they made this film, to compare our age to. And I want to say that Burt Young, who played Paulie, was 42 years old when he shot this movie.
So he's 20 years younger than Tom Cruise is now.
Yeah.
He was so weathered.
Yes. Well, not like Burgess Meredith weathered. I mean, Burgess Meredith is a Mickey. And so we find out in this movie.
He was 27 in that movie.
Actually, let's see. He was no, he was in his 70s. Okay, so that makes sense. But he looked like older than dirt. But we find out in this movie that Mickey had been booking him easy fights because of how much he got killed in his battles with Apollo to protect Rocky and protect his longevity. We find out Mickey has been setting him up with some ringers, and that's why he's not prepared for Clubber Lang.
That, and remember, he was living in a nice house. He had the damn robot going around the house giving him stuff like they're made. There was a little bit of the first time I ever saw in a boxing movie or story being told that, oh, you're getting soft, champ. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that quote unquote eye of the tiger anymore. So I don't know. I thought that's still. I hated that he lost a bit. Like I hated it. It devastated. I'm being serious because, like you said, it was so akin to pro wrestling for me. You know, I'm fully into pro wrestling at this point too, and so this was like when he lost. It was like, you know, I know it's a movie, but still as a kid, it sucked. But then it made it all sweeter at the very end.
Creed 2 had the same theme, right? Where he lost the eye of the tiger. He became very corporate, you know, was becoming a suit. And I always love the Creed movies where they take those elements from the first 5 Rocky movies. You know, Creed 3 took a lot from Rocky 5, which was the worst Rocky movie, but they took it and made it so much better.
And they way better. I can't believe I'm saying that, but yes, they did, and they updated it too. They updated it perfectly in today's society as these. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I like the arc for Apollo, that what he's doing in dealing with his retirement and being out of the game and coming back to train Rocky.
Yeah, man. Yep, 100%. I also remember not fully trusting him because remember
thinking he had some ulterior motive.
Yeah, he bet a lot of money on Clubber.
Because I didn't trust him, and was it Lou? Lou was his corner guy, right?
Yeah.
I didn't trust them. I'm like, these are traitors. We can't trust them. I swear to God, as a little kid.
When he beat Rocky, you know, I mean, when Rocky beat him, you would think that there's some sort of grudge, but turned out they were on the right side from the beginning. And man, when Apollo died, that is one of those, like, you kind of see it in the commercials for Rocky 4, but you don't think he dies. And then when he actually does die, you're just like, oh my God.
I don't remember the commercials at all. I just remember what you're saying. I was devastated by that.
Yeah. It was one of the most devastating movie deaths I've ever seen.
Heck yeah. Like he's supposed to be in the rest of the movie.
Right.
Like, I did not see that happen.
You just assume he's going to get the shit kicked in and maybe he's in a wheelchair or something, but you don't think he's going to die.
But that really made Drago, say what you will. It's his old movies here, writing scripts and stuff. But if he dies, he dies. Oh my God. Such a clutch line, and I hated him for it.
Here's the crazier thing when you watch part 3. Sorry, Raj. When you watch part 3, Rocky's talking to Paulie, and Paulie's being shitty to Apollo, and then Rocky says, "Oh, it takes like 6 years to get to really know him and love him," and Apollo says, "I haven't got that long," and it's like, oh shit. It's like he knows, man.
Yeah.
Apollo, man, Carl Weathers. I was glad to see him get that role in Happy Gilmore and see him still get stuff,
Oh,
because he's so good, and like he can deliver comedic lines. He's not a funny guy, but you give him like the right line, and it's just so memorable. And like what you were just saying with Polly, it's a perfect example of that.
No, he's great.
He's as charismatic as it gets, especially as Apollo Creed. I love that character. You're right. He's funny. He's charismatic. He's witty. He's all the above. He's good. He's the perfect man.
Yeah. And his connection to LA, and then you think about Adonis and Creed and how Adonis born in LA out of the marriage and all. Ooh, it's interesting.
It is
very interesting. Yeah, to watch the world building. But no, man, Hogan, I remember with Thunderlips, like a lot of people were talking about that. And I know I've talked about this before, but at the time my mom's boss was a bodybuilder who was like Mr. USA over 50, like swam the bay at Alcatraz with like rowboats shackled to his feet. So he knew, he was the one that he was like, oh, I know that guy's name's Terry. Like that was my first sort of like introduction to kayfabe and the idea that it was all fake,
Huh.
Yeah, when that came out, man, I mean, I was very curious about wrestling, so it was just perfect timing when WWF started getting high profile. Cyndi Lauper putting Captain Lou Albano. It was like, I mean, it's funny, man. I like Vince McMahon couldn't have done it better himself with the idea of sprinkling all this talent. Like, okay, you're going to see these people here and these people here and these people here, and then we're going to have this celebrity and this celebrity, and we're going to bring this in. Like, it's amazing how it seemed like it came out of nowhere, and then it was the biggest thing going, like almost instantly.
How do we never have Carl Weathers in wrestling, doing anything?
Actually, probably wanted too much money. He's kind of famous for being a tough negotiator.
Okay.
And he's pissed at Stallone that Stallone didn't bring him back for some sort of flashback in the Creed series.
Well, Stallone has said he regrets killing him off.
Yeah.
Really? Why isn't he brought back for that though? For Creed somehow as a flashback, something.
I think it'd be corny because he is so much older.
Okay.
If you look in the Creed movies, because the Creed movies are like real movies as opposed to like the Rocky 3 to 6 are like pop. Like
6 isn't. I mean, Rocky Balboa feels a lot like the first one to me.
Yes, it does.
But it's still fast-paced movie. It's unrealistic. Like they're going off of ESPN simulation and stuff like that wouldn't really happen.
It was funny during the beach scene with Adrian and Rocky in this. It's like, man, Stallone knows how to write those perfectly worded, much like the World Ain't Sunshine and Rainbows speech in Rocky Balboa.
Oh my God.
He knows how to write two people talking to each other where everything that comes out of their mouth is like the perfect argument, counterpoint, point of view, rebuttal. Right. I mean, it's just, he doesn't get enough credit as being really good with just writing like succinct motivational dialogue that doesn't seem forced or cheesy. Like it feels real in the moment.
That Rocky 3 scene when he's with Adrian on the beach and she kind of gets him going, right? Like that speech turns him around and he's that's when you get the eye of the tiger back again. It could be done so wrong, but the way they do it is so well done. And Sly and Talia Shire. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were just perfect in that scene. And Stallone, he gets a lot of crap for his, the mumbling and everything, but I thought he was just perfect. And I thought Rocky 3 is one of those. It's one of those where there's a lot of corniness, but it is so good. You could show it to anyone, anytime, and I'm sure, like, you show it to 20 people, 15 people will stay till the end. And there's not many 80s movies that are like that.
So let me ask you guys this. I know we're talking about 3, and we'll transition into, I'm sure, No Holds Barred and stuff. But before we do, and maybe on a different time we'll talk about Rocky 4, but one other thing I just want to point out with the Rocky series that taught a lot of us kids was to hate Russia. You guys not remember that? Like, it literally taught us, like, say what you will, like, to hate that place, hate that country. And then if you have to your mom and dad about it, like, yeah, well, You know, they're the bad guy. Like it was.
Well, I mean, I also think Red Dawn was also 50% of that.
Big time. And as a kid, I should have no business watching that movie as a kid, but yet
that movie like freaked me out like nobody's business.
Dude, them all lined up and singing. Oh my God, it made me cry as a little kid even.
Yeah.
Red Dawn was in the Guinness Book of World Records. It's the most violent movie ever made. But it was. You were taught to hate Russia, and you don't know why.
You did no clue why. Zero clue as a little kid why, except for Nikolai Volkov and Ivan Drago.
Right, communism, but I don't know what that means.
Don't know what that is yet. My kid, yeah.
It is weird. I mean, yeah, it's very interesting.
And we know the rhythm of it. We don't know the words, but we do know if we had to hum it, we all could probably do it.
Probably, yeah.
So we should talk a little bit about No Holds Barred. I think this actually is a good bookend for kind of like Hulk Hogan in the 80s. I know No Holds Barred made money. I know Hulk and Vince were executive producers on it. I know WWF did the pay-per-view where they showed the movie and then they had the match. I know it was considered a success, but like these are the bookends for me where it's like Rocky 3 introduced us all to wrestling. And I remember when No Holds Barred came out, that was kind of the beginning of that down period of like, oh, wrestling's not cool anymore.
But time out. Did you really think that was a kid?
I remember when the Warrior Hogan WrestleMania, which was around the same time. I remember that was the first time when I took a break. And then it was like Hogan went to WCW, and that was like, oh, now I'm curious what's going on.
Yeah, that's about the time I did too.
Yeah, you know, I was being made fun of. I had like an HBK shirt. I remember like an Undertaker shirt during those down years in high school, and I got made fun of for it for like the first time. Whereas before, if you were a wrestling fan, you were cool, and you had the LJN figures, you were cool on the playground. But that ship sailed.
Yeah. But I think No Holds Barred. I mean,
WrestleMania 6 was kind of the end of, for me. Like that was kind of the end of the wrestling boom until the Attitude Era came up, where you had Hogan, Warrior, and then as soon as Hogan left, it just kind of Bret Hart was never that he became that guy later, but at first
I watched it. We all watched it every week, and like clockwork. I know I did, but it didn't have the same.
Right.
We weren't talking about it in the playground. That's all I remember. We weren't talking about that. Like
WrestleMania 8 was the last one where like everyone was still talking about it. And then WrestleMania 9, nobody.
I remember
10, 0. It was just
like
me.
Every WrestleMania from like 2 through 6 was and even when I lived in Michigan, when I lived in California, it was like, let's get a group of people together.
Yes.
We're all going to put in $10. We're going to buy the pay-per-view and use the rest to get pizza and soda. Just hang out for the day. And 6 was like the last one that happened for me.
Yeah.
Where there were enough people to like pool together money, you know? But No Holds Barred, I mean, it's an interesting movie. Notable that the WWF is represented in it, Mean Gene, Jesse Ventura, but Hulk Hogan's not playing Hulk Hogan, playing Rip Rogers,
which is the name of another wrestler, like the Hustler, Rip Rogers.
Right?
I wonder how. I wonder how they did that. I guess maybe Rip didn't own the copyright. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's not. But when he comes to the ring, exact same mannerisms, exact same. He just the colors were different. It was blue and white as opposed to red and yellow.
Oh, Rip Thomas, pardon me, Rip Thomas. I thought it was alliteration. So it was Rip Thomas, the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion.
Wait, he was Rip Rogers, wasn't he?
No, it was Rip Thomas. But I think of it as Rip Rogers because of Rip Rogers. That's why. And Rip'em was his
tagline.
Oh my God, Randy's brother.
The first match he has was Demolition Axe, Billy in that movie. And and
the entire plot of the film is that a rival TV network is jealous of WWF's ratings and wants to compete. It's actually, I mean, it's kind of weird, right?
He's like supposed to be like Ted Turner, right?
Oh, I wonder if that's Vince. But I wonder if that's Vince thought what was happening when Ted Turner lured Hulk away. It was like, this is like No Holds Barred, but in real life. Who did he send over to seduce him and get him to break this contract?
Because this was right when Ted Turner bought WCW, right? Like, or no, actually, he hadn't probably bought WCW.
A little beforehand.
What if this is where he got the idea?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny?
So the famous scene in this movie near the beginning is that the network head wants to meet with him and like gets him in a limo and kidnaps him And then you get the shot of Hulk jumping up through the roof of the limo, which actually that's like the coolest shot in the entire film.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
When
Beats
he
up
threw the
all
roof?
these henchmen, and then the limo driver soiled himself.
Yeah. Hogan turns it on to like 690 degrees, and that scene with the dookie where he's like, "What's that smell?"
I saw this on in the background as a child and didn't pay much attention to it because I was like, this seems kind of silly. I remember, famous reviews like Siskel and Ebert disliked, like everybody disliked this movie and was just like, for a wrestling movie, this is surprising. Like even for a wrestling movie, this is bad. But watching this again, Raj, I got to tell you, I wanted to turn this movie off probably a good 8 or 9 times during its 90-minute running time. Where I was like, this is just so bad. And then like 20 minutes where Hulk's not there. Like, oh, we couldn't get Hulk to film this. So let's go in the world of TV production in this tough man competition. They're going to a bar and they're going to make fun of everyone in the bar. Then they're going to they don't even get their asses kicked. They just get their manhood insulted. But then the scene, I love the 2 things. One, when they go on the road with Sam, the account manager, who's Samantha. They're at a diner, and then the diner gets held up, and Hogan throws pies at the robbers to subdue them, and then they end up having to share one hotel room together. And then, like a 1950s sitcom, Hogan puts a piece of tape and a sheet down the middle to divide the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she chose to wear the. She looks amazing in that movie. Joan Severance, she was awesome. She's too good for that movie, I thought. But Hogan, man, it was it's one of the. I was actually having fun watching it. I tried to get my wife to watch it for a little bit. She was like, "What the fuck is this?"
You remember being a kid? So I don't know about you guys. When that scene came on, it was like a sex scene. And I'm like, I didn't like it as a kid. I mean, remember at this time, girls are icky to me. I want nothing to do with them. I like sports, wrestling, and my Hulk Hogan. And I for some reason, I remember it's like, this is stupid. What is this? Like not wanting to see it. I don't know why.
And Hogan's wearing like panties and stuff.
Yes, I did not want to see that. This guy was my hero. Him and Michael Jordan around this time. Yeah,
Matt. What you've been around a lot of legends, including Hulk Hogan. What is their fascination? And I understand to an extent Zubas, but what is their fascination with like tie-dye and like the bowling ball swirl pattern?
No, I don't know.
The weirdest, loudest colors.
Did you ever wear the Zubas?
Yeah. I bought some Zubas like 4 years ago because Mojo Rawley got me interested in them again.
Matt, did you ever?
Retroactively, what I say?
Yeah.
For retro purposes, I think I have once, but like not back in the day. No,
dude, they're super comfortable pants. Like, I mean, the loud patterns aside, I own some Zuba ties that they make some Zubas. Like, those are actually pretty cool to have that pattern on a tie. I think that looks kind of sweet on like a black suit or something.
I think you're trying to go overboard. Like, I'm not really corporate. I'm not corporate. My tie screams it. See.
And recently I invested in a new fanny pack. So there you go.
So I used to clown those until I started wrestling. And then you just eventually, that is one thing I succumbed to, was a stupid fanny pack. I'm still embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where a man purse is convenient.
It is, but they didn't have it yet.
All right. They still don't.
They do.
No, there are things, but
Travis Hunter was rocking one on the sidelines for the Colorado game this weekend.
Oh, was he really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The body bag in Vegas is very popular, like the small messenger bag, but a lot of people wear them like it's like basically a fanny pack, but you wear it like across your chest, like diagonally.
That's
like
what Travis was wearing. That's what Travis Hunter guy was wearing, actually.
But I've seen that a lot of people playing poker like have that, and they keep everything in there, but they keep it on their chest so it can't get like stolen or anything.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty popular here. But no, man, with no holds barred, like I was just watching this and the wrestling match at the end. First of all, the octagon. Also,
yeah, good call.
Did they subconsciously come up with that idea from this movie? You gotta wonder because I've never seen an octagon before, right? Like this was the
not even in math class. Not even geometry.
Well, I mean,
not even shapes in kindergarten.
No.
You got the parallelograms, and you're like, I'm good.
Hexagon was as far as I went, but yeah, as far as a combat area, doing an octagon, that's the first time I've ever seen it.
When did UFC first come out?
In the 90s. So this was
crazy.
So, yeah. Like subconsciously, because you hear Artie Davis, talking about when he founded the UFC, they were talking about like having a moat and alligators and all this stuff. But you got to wonder if the subconsciously, if they got that idea from No Holds Barred.
Once we get through October and doing some scary movie and Halloween stuff, in November we should do Bloodsport, Mortal Kombat, and UFC.
Ooh, okay.
I've never seen any of those.
But you've never seen Bloodsport?
Bloodsport's amazing. It was such a good movie.
And you've never played the game Mortal Kombat?
I played it, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, the
Sub-Zero.
game. Yeah, the movie is one thing, but dude, Bloodsport, like, okay, that's.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, I still think that movie. I think that movie's gotten better with age. Personally, I rewatched it like 6 months ago. I was like, this movie is fantastic.
There's a lot for you to clown and laugh at that
absolutely.
You're not supposed to be laughing at on purpose.
Yeah, but I think it's in some ways it's a perfect film, much like Back to the Future. Different type of movie, but it's the perfect 80s action movie, especially if you like fights and fighting and whatnot.
And as usual in the 80s, they're doing a masterful job of building up their villains.
Yeah.
And I love Van Damme back in the day too.
Yeah, so that'll be fun to talk about. But with No Holds Barred, I mean, Matt, did you watch it when it first came out? Do you remember like going to the theater opening day?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Me and my friend Josh Schultz went to it. Again, it was another award for doing good in school. But I loved it. I thought it was the greatest movie. I'm not joking. I thought this was the coolest movie ever.
You know how like Meltzer right now, where he's like, Dynamite. Well, there was tennis competition on. He'll bring that up. But No Holds Barred, it was number 2 when it opened, behind Indiana Jones, which was like the biggest movie at that time. But
that's crazy.
It was number 2 at the box office when it opened.
That the movie we just watched again, that was number 2. Wow.
Behind Indiana Jones.
I think we were going to go see it in theaters, and I think we just went and saw Indiana Jones a second time because Last Crusade is such a good movie.
In retrospect, that was a proper choice, obviously, but...
I remember my dad, we had just moved to Virginia at that time. We watched that, and I made him watch that. They'd take me to the theater and then made him watch Karate Kid 3, and he's like, all right, you're fucking done. Like, that's it.
No, I mean, but that movie, I mean, like that summer, 1989, you had Ghostbusters 2, Batman.
Which was terrible. Ghostbusters 2 was terrible.
2, but Batman, though, was the biggest event, like, of the late 80s cinematically. The hype for Batman when that came out. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like, that was a huge summer for movies. So No Holds Barred only making $16 million is actually kind of a disappointment. I mean, when you look at, even The Abyss, which I love, but a lot of people consider a failure, like even The Abyss like made more money than that.
Well, I just know this. As a kid, I thought the movie ruled. I really did.
Yeah.
Again, the Hulk could do nothing wrong to me as a little kid, like as a fan of his. I loved anything he was a part of.
Yeah. I remember being jazzed to see it in the theater. And I remember when I saw it in the theater at that time, in my head, I made myself like it. You know what I mean? Like if it was some other unknown actor, I probably wouldn't have liked it. But because it was Hulk, and I was a huge Hulk maniac at the time, I made myself like going into it. I knew I was going to love this movie.
Well, the other part of it was Zeus. So for me, like my head, I wanted to see that match in real life because I knew this was a movie, right? I'm so sophisticated. And I knew this was a movie. So I was like, I wonder, in real life, Hogan might not be able to take this guy. I remember really thinking that. So when he eventually did show up, I was so excited.
Yeah, Tiny Lister.
But then they showed that he really couldn't do much. They kept protecting him. And as a kid, I remember that was my first time seeing another athlete being protected because he can't. Because I kept saying, why doesn't he do more than this? He was doing way more than this in the movie. Why can't he do it in real life? You know what I mean?
You know that and it goes back to like what works, right? Like, is it work rate? No. Is it building characters and stuff? And that Zeus, Hulk Hogan, Brutus Beefcake, Randy Savage SummerSlam main event was one of the biggest drawing pay-per-views of all time.
All characters, great, very defined characters.
Yeah.
And it's crazy with Tiny Lister, man. He was the go-to guy. I mean, you think about Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. You think about Bull from Night Court. You think about some of these other big guys who played the heavy. If you just go to Tiny Lister's Wikipedia page and you look at the number of movies he was in as the big, I mean, dude, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Man, I mean, but even going on
Debo's
to culture.
Debo is iconic, though.
Yes, of course it is.
Stellar Justin Lopez bringing up that it made over $16 million. It was the 69th highest grossing film of that year, which,
but yeah, so in movies, you keep half your money. The theaters keep half the money. So Vince McMahon essentially broke even but after whatever New Line Cinemas had to pay him. And New Line at the time, New Line was kind of a hot studio by that point, like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, that's right. They did make Nightmare.
Yeah. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which that came out was that before? Was that? Let me see. No. That was either 89 or 90.
Because New Line got much bigger with Friday and all those Cube movies.
That was the one with Nash, right?
Super Shredder,
yeah. TMNT was 1990. So up until that point, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street is what kept New Line. And man, do we want to next week? Do we want to do Nightmare and Friday next week? Maybe Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th next week.
Ooh,
for Halloween season, that'd be good. But dude, like,
I can rewatch those.
I've watched so many Nightmare on Elm Street documentaries, and you'll just hear about like New Line, like Freddy Krueger is what not only put them on the map but kept them in business.
Yeah,
up until TMNT came out.
It is funny with Nightmare on Elm Street because the one where they didn't have Robert Englund, they had gotten another guy, and it just
Jackie
wasn't
Haley,
the same.
Be fair, and Kelly Leak from the Bad News Bears,
right? It just wasn't the same.
from Watchmen. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was. You know what? I mean, we'll talk about this. If that hadn't had CGI effects, if they'd done practical effects, I think that would have been way better received. But when you watch it now, it was made during that era when special effects now look like a video game.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look real. But yeah, it's interesting that pay-per-view did well for WWF because it was like, watch the movie, then watch this pay-per-view after. Could you imagine that now? If they were like, watch the Marine 5 and then the Miz is really going to take on Bo Dallas and reenact their fight from the film.
I was having this discussion with my daughters the other day, and we talked about this a little bit last week, but like I was asking them, who are the big movie stars now, right? Like, who are the draws? And they were saying Zendaya and Tom Holland. I'm like, those guys, they're not draws like Tom Cruise and Stallone and Arnold were, like younger kids know them, but they're not going to go to whatever they do,
Well, they also don't have a telephone book at some age thick of, lists of movies they've been in and starred in, like those aforementioned guys you just said, Arnold and Sylvester and all them, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And no one's even that bankable. I mean, aside from The Rock, look at Jennifer Lawrence.
He's the last.
Jennifer Lawrence did that No Hard Feelings movie over the summer. Really funny, really solid film, like a raunchy comedy. Like, it just did okay. I mean, the Chris's, all the Chris's from the Marvel movies, like, and then Chris Pine. I mean, they'll do stuff, and it's kind of hit or miss depending on what the film is, whether people go and see it or not. Scarlett Johansson. I mean, I feel like we've got very few like actual movie stars, and then a lot of B+ players that if you put them in the right thing, it could be huge. But then there's also like just great actors working today. I mean, if Jake Gyllenhaal's in something, like, I'm probably going to watch it because I think he tends to do really interesting movies.
But when we were talking about No Holds Barred and Hulk Hogan, the fact that he was able to make it number 2 when it was a terrible movie, and just his star power alone, you're not going to get that now. With Roman Reigns is not going to open a movie at number 2.
No. Different time and age today too, how people view their stuff, right? But still, if we went back in time, no, he wouldn't have been able to do it. Hulk did with that. No.
Cena was kind of the last of, even Cena, I don't think would open a movie at number 2. The Rock would. but not Cena.
But that feel like The Rock's film career before he did Fast Five.
Right.
He had a lot of movies that opened okay.
Crap.
Yeah, but it was seen as a disappointment because it was like, The Rundown, good example. Like, why didn't this make more money?
I just kept remember telling everybody, why don't they put him in a damn movie in which is similar to the Rock character? He's hilarious. Everybody thinks he's cool. Girls want to friggin' you know what with him. Like it. Everybody loves the Rock character, but they haven't played these lame ass stupid roles that are not him at all. And they made him lose weight, which was stupid.
He was skinny for a while.
Yeah, he had to. They told him to.
He looked like, go back and watch Cena in 12 Rounds. Like, Cena doesn't look like a real person next to other people. He's too big.
Yeah. What was that movie where The Rock was the football coach? Like, that was when he was really going downhill.
With his weight. They made him do that on purpose. He was too big. And anyways, he was a quarterback in that movie on top of it, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But God, what was it called? The Program? The something? What was it called?
Something? It was some. Not the program.
That wasn't the program. That was the one where the kids were laying down in traffic,
right?
And
which they had to cut that scene out.
I know,
because people were really doing
Gridiron Gang is the one.
Gridiron Gang. Yeah, right.
No, he was a coach in Gridiron Gang.
Yeah. And the one you're thinking about is the Disney movie with the daughter.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called?
Tooth Fairy
for that.
No.
And my kids love that movie.
Interesting. Chat, help us out. Game plan. So just
there
you go.
Thank you, chat.
But I want to point something out though, Raj. Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade made $37 million over that same weekend when No Holds Barred made $5. Like,
but it was number 2.
That's a distant number 2.
It was a distant number 2.
Hulk Hogan got people to spend $5 million to come see the movie.
Yeah. And the ticket prices, we got like $1 million. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there were like, at that point, there were probably, 10 million WWE fans. And he got 10% of them to go out and see a film. Now, I mean, if you could do a WWE Studios picture, like, oh my God, like that stock would triple if they could open a movie with 1 million people going weekend number 1,
Yeah, I just think movies is a different business now. Whereas,
streaming.
And it's funny, like the people that are draws are the people that we grew up with. Tom Cruise, it's not the current generation. They're not draws.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Plus I think everything hits streaming so soon. It's like, oh, I want to see Gran Turismo. I know it's going to be streaming in 3 weeks. Anything comes out.
They're starting to change that. Oppenheimer, like that's still not on streaming, and I've been wanting to see that, and I'm like, damn, maybe I should just go, but I can't find the time.
So hold up. So if a movie just came out in the theater, 3 weeks afterwards, you can see it on stream.
Yeah, you can rent it for like $20 and watch it.
You got to buy it. Yeah.
So this
like
happened.
Barbie is out now.
Yeah, Barbie took a while. So the asterisk to this though, Matt, is if something is hugely popular and still making money in theaters, they won't do that. But let's say like The Flash came out and The Flash just did kind of like okay, like wait 3 weeks or a month, you can pay $20 and watch it at home.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That happens a lot with movies now. It's a very limited release. So I don't know, man. It's interesting that this movie but it's funny because a lot of people saw it, but I don't hear people speak well of this film. I feel this always gets
No Holds Barred.
Yeah, it always gets brought up.
Because it's not a good movie. What are you talking about?
No. But Matt, here's what I'm saying.
There's like a rapey scene, and it's
there's a lot of stuff.
But
no, but there's a lot of bad movies from the 80s that like people have nostalgic fondness for. I think this might be the first one that like nobody has nostalgic fondness for.
I did, just because of this was the first time I saw Hulk.
Yeah.
Even though it was a movie, in a bad way, with a guy that I thought was bigger than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More muscular too.
I will admit, like the scenes with Zeus when he's coming in, I was like, yeah, that's pretty badass. Like it was.
Well, except they filled in his eyebrows, like the Z in his side of his head. Like some
it
of
was
it
cool.
Pretty cheesy. Yeah,
that was dope. That was cool.
Like, and he had his own music. It was like,
Jim Johnston. Yeah. Score in the film.
He was the best thing of that movie. I thought Zeus, like just every scene he was in, just kind of he stole the scene. Hulk sucked.
It's crazy. I mean, yeah, he's doing his thing. I mean, does it get better in Suburban Commando? Does it get better in Mr. Nanny? Does his acting improve?
I did not watch another movie from Hulk after this.
Hulk Speak was Rocky 3. That was the best he's ever been in a movie. Seriously.
And he's like a parody of a pro wrestler, which...
Yes.
But he was great in that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But if not for this film, WWE Studios probably would have never happened. If not for Vince having that experience of being like, why am I giving somebody else? Why am I splitting the money with New Line Cinemas?
Yes.
You know?
Definitely, I bet you a part of it. Yes. And the fact that he thinks that wrestlers can do a little bit of everything, which I agree with him on. I think wrestlers, you got to find the right ones, do have the ability. They can do their own stunts. If you put them in an action movie, they know how to be charismatic. They know how to turn it up to a 10 or a 12. All the things that you can, I think you put a lot of wrestlers in these types of roles, and I think they do a decent job at it. More than any other genre, I would argue, other than obviously a classically well-trained actor or actress. But if you pull people from the sports world or other entertainers from the entertainment world, I do think wrestlers offer the most.
And I like when they give wrestlers roles that show range. It is weird. I mean, Schwarzenegger had that problem early on where it's, well, he's a robot. He doesn't have to speak much. Where they do things to sort of hide the fact that they're not the best actors or they have issues delivering dialogue. So I think we've evolved a bit. I mean, I think
Kindergarten Cop, he was great in that.
Well,
movie.
What football players have had the success that The Rock and Cena have had, right? No one. Like wrestling is where you find it because you have that training of communicating in front of a large audience, and seriously, there's no other sport where you have that kind of success.
Yeah.
No celebrity has had this. Yeah.
Even Batista. Right. Had some sleeper movies I was really impressed with.
Yeah. He's a very good actor. I think he's the best wrestler turned actor. I mean,
I don't think they talk about it enough, though. Like, do they? Is he getting his props?
I think so. It's interesting when you see interviews with him, though. That's why it kind of shocks me that he went back to WWE a few years ago, because when we watch interviews with him, it's like he's so, I mean, almost, it comes across almost a little pretentious how much of a film nerd he is, like naming directors, talking about method, like, oh, I'll work with this guy for free. Just because,
he says films instead of movies.
But he's talented, though. Don't get me wrong. I mean, watch Knock at the Cabin, and it's like that's a really emotionally heavy role he's playing, and he knocks it out of the park. And I agree in the first Guardians. I know now he's kind of like down on playing Drax ever again, but in that first Guardians movie, like there was comedy there, but that was a really like interesting character.
It was. What was the movie he was in where? Oh God, he had bad vision. It was supposed to be. Oh God.
Was it the murder mystery one that just came out?
It was he had a sidekick in it. It was really funny. He played off him really well.
With the girl.
Yeah. What was it?
Oh wait, was that the one? Where's the Bensonhurst one? Where's the invasion? Was it an action movie or a comedy, Matt?
Like a romance type of movie.
Oh, Stuber.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
I heard
that was the first non-Drax film I saw from him, and I was impressed with what he did in that. I really was. I didn't think he could do that. Honestly, I didn't.
But he was good in Glass Onion. I think he plays a very fun,
Glass
funny
Onion
role. Yeah, but he's serious with it. No, I think
he was what Andrew Tate, or what he was trying to be.
He was trying to be like kind of like one of those type guys. It was interesting, but I think I think he's by far the best actor, and it'd be interesting to see. I mean, because The Rock, aside from Pain and Gain, like The Rock doesn't really take.
I think John Cena is the best actor.
But he's done doing comedy though.
Yeah, but he does his best.
But it's really the same thing though. It's the. I mean, did you guys watch Fast X yet?
Yeah. No. Wait. What?
Fast 10.
Oh yes, I did. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the one with the Rock at the very end?
Yes.
I'm losing track of which one. I saw the one before. I saw Fast 9 where Cena was first.
He's in Fast 10. He's just playing John Cena again. It's the exact same as he played in Blockers. It's the same. Like, hey, I'm a big tough guy, but I also make fun of myself, and it's good. I like watching it, but it's the same shtick. And I like John Cena a lot, but I'm just saying, like, he knows what people want to see him do.
He is the most rage. I'm telling you the truth. Anyone I've ever seen in our business, including Rock, and I mean this, John can do anything that you want him to act like. He doesn't have to always play that character. So I don't know why he keeps getting booked in movies. And you're right, he does. The oversized meathead who makes fun of himself.
Yeah.
And tries to pretend he's like crapping on himself, right, for a couple of laughs. But I'm telling you, he can do way more than that. I don't know why they don't have him do way more than that.
Actually, it was funny.
I gotta say,
sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say the best wrestler performance I think I've ever seen was Cena in Blockers. I think that is the best.
He was good in that, Glenn.
He's funny. Okay, yeah.
I'm going to put it out there right now. So John at OVW, driving us after a wrestling practice at the old Davis Arena, which was in Indiana. We were going to like a Shoney's or one of those all-you-can-eat buffets for like $250 because we didn't have much money under tour names at the time, right? And he's blasting Quiet Riot on the Jeep ride over there. He's blasted Twisted Sister. So when he came up with the rap thing, I'm like, he is that damn good. He's got everybody fooled thinking that he's like this rapper and he knows rap and he even likes rap. Because I'm telling you, he was not a rap fan. I'm telling you, he was listening to like 80s metal. Unless he probably listened to Maul, but I'm just telling you, he definitely was a huge 80s guy because I was too. I still am.
Yeah.
And with metal. But so that's how talented is my point he is. He can pull off anything you throw his way, whether it's him joking around. He can pull it off to where you believe he's being real. He's I'm telling you, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
He is.
I think sleeper funny performance from him, but him and Daddy's Home too, I think is very funny so because it's not like he's not in on the joke through the entire film. Like he plays it really straight and really serious, like this asshole dad. I think he's very funny in that. But no, you know what's funny though?
There's that movie where he talks about how he ate Mark Wahlberg for breakfast.
Trainwreck.
Yeah, and then he's actually with Mark Wahlberg in that movie.
Yeah,
and Daddy's Home too, which was hilarious. I thought Cena stole that movie.
Trainwrecked or what?
No, Daddy's Home too.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
He's the best part of it. The first Daddy's Home is funny. He's in it briefly, the first one. But
he's at the very end,
Yeah, but no, I think that Trainwreck was the start. And honestly, it's really weird in a way because like for a while there, him and Channing Tatum had like the same sort of career path where it was like, oh, people don't take them seriously. Channing because he's like the super attractive guy. And John because he's so buff. And they both started like kind of making fun of themselves at the same time. And that completely got them more roles, changed people's image of them, like was a game changer for their careers.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm telling you, he can do so much more than what we've seen. I'm telling you guys.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like I was watching the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, and I know they got Wyatt Russell to play the new Captain America. At the time, the Patriot was like the bad guy. I thought Cena with that. I thought that role. It's funny they went to the Peacemaker, which is kind of like a parody of Captain America. But if you watch what John Cena's done, I mean, there's that great video he did for the 4th of July that they re-show every year where he's talking about patriotism and community and equality and inclusion. You watch his Make-A-Wish work. I mean, this guy is so sincere and so good at delivering just those like, inspiring speeches that it's like, why isn't he getting cast in a movie where he gets to tap into more of that side of himself? Yeah.
So real quick, going into talking about No Holds Barred and everything, best Hulk Hogan movie. What is it?
Ooh.
It has to be Rocky 3.
Rocky 3. I mean, yeah. Like,
do we consider that? He's not the star of that.
I mean, he's the best in that.
I mean, if we don't count
best out of who? He's not better than Sly Stallone in it.
No. Mr. T is better. I mean, he's number 4.
I thought Mr. T was better than Hulk in that too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, has he ever made a really great movie? I mean, I haven't seen Suburban Commando or Mr. Nano.
Veggie Gamer saying Suburban Commando. No way.
Okay.
That was the one with Undertaker in it, right?
Let's see
that story, whether it was him or Big Show. I think it was supposed to be Undertaker or something.
Oh wait, no, Gremlins 2, the new batch, is the best Hulk Hogan film appearance.
No, Rocky 3, gotta be.
They're all horrible except he was good.
Except for Rocky 3.
He was good at Thunderlips.
All right, yeah. Best Rocky movie.
For me, by a smidgen, it's 4. A smidgen over 3. I mean, like a half a centimeter.
If you throw in the Creed movies,
You can't do that. You cannot do that. You're blowing my head up with this, Raj.
Out of all of them, Rocky Balboa, Rocky 6 is the best Rocky movie.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't predict
it's the most interesting story, and especially because if you've watched the entire series, that movie, like, I mean, even the fact Spider Rodriguez is like washing dishes in his restaurant, like that movie is a love letter to the series. It's a great bookend to the character. Like what he did in Creed is great, but if you watch that movie, I don't know how you can not watch that movie and not be touched, inspired, like sad. Like it's so good.
I took Creed as his love letter to
yeah, same.
But man, no, it's got to be 4. Really close with 3, like really pushing it.
I'm with you. I think 4 and 3, and then the Creed 1 and 2. It's like Creed 1 and 2. I could watch anytime it's on. I'm watching it. And when I'm on a plane, as soon as I see it's there, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think from 6, The World Ain't Sunshine and Rainbows kid, like that speech, one of the best movie speeches ever.
I was gonna say of any movie. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, and Paulie is like the least awful. Paulie is the least awful in Rocky 6. he's alone. He's still terrible, but
he is. Yeah. He's the worst. It's like he lost all your money, did nothing to get it back. He has brought nothing to your life. At least have him live somewhere else.
He's like the worst version of Turtle from Entourage. Like, it's just like, dude, why do we let you hang out with us? Very weird. At least Turtle drove the car.
Yeah.
Paulie doesn't even drive Rocky around.
No, he just drinks. He just takes all the booze.
And gets bitter and like makes mean comments and like says some questionable shit. Like now in hindsight, maybe a little borderline racist. It's like
he has been borderline racist.
Yeah, it's like time. Paulie, like really. Shit ain't acceptable, man. So we should talk about this. Raj, we were talking off the air. Raj has got his semi-retirement career doing stock advice. And I don't know for you guys when the first time you ever knew about the stock market was, but for me, it was the Margin of Error episode of Family Ties in 1982 when Alex P. Keaton is doing a class project on the stock market, and he's so good at stock picks that he pretends to be his father and buys a bunch of stock in a company, makes a shit ton of money, and then is going to give it to his parents, but then a monsoon wipes out the company in the Philippines, and he has to explain to them they just lost, like, you know, their nest egg of AT&T stock. And I remember seeing that as a kid, and I was like, this is just a great sitcom episode, and Michael J. Fox is amazing. But I remember seeing that at like 7 years old and being like, what is this stock market thing? And how do I get involved?
Wow.
You know,
for me, it was there was a episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's kind of the same thing where Will and Carlton, they put all this money in this stock and they're watching it, you know, and it's crashing, it splits and then it crashes, and they're all cocky at the beginning. And they're like, oh God, we lost everything. So it's one of those things that if you get into it smart, if you just put your funds in S&P 500 index fund and don't even think about it over time. And that's what I'm teaching my daughters. And I did a newsletter the other day about how my youngest daughter is 14. She gets $100 a month, and every month, 50 of that she has to put it into an S&P 500 index fund, and she has to manually do it because you need to know how to do it as opposed to it being automatic. And she's been doing it, and especially this last year, it's been gigantic. And she's like, okay, now I'm starting to work and I'm going to do $200 a month. And it's like, oh, yes, you know, like the earlier you get in, the more it pays off over time.
That's really impressive, man. Smart girl.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. The earlier, the better.
No, one of my biggest regrets. Never, like, I remember being 25 and having a job, and they're like, oh, and we have this 401k and we do matching, and I'm like, I'm good, just give me all my money now. I want to buy a new car stereo. Like, I remember
I need the speakers in my back seat.
Yeah, I was so dumb with my money to the point where, you know, 15 years ago, I didn't drive for a year because I couldn't afford car insurance. Like, I spent every cent I made up until, like 35, until I finally started to value saving. And I wish I got in the market sooner. I think I was always so afraid of something going wrong. But historically, and this isn't financial advice, but historically, the market tends to go up. And I think that I'm one of those people that does the idiotic thing of, I'm going to time the market. I'm going to wait. There's going to be a big crash, and then I'm going to take a bunch of money and put it all into stock. And it's probably better to do what Raj preaches, which is dollar cost averaging and just putting in a little here and a little there. And you don't have to sit there. And I'm also, again, an idiot, because I'll sit there and be like, oh, I like this stock for this reason, or, oh, I should invest in WWE, where it's like, you can just buy an index fund that covers everything. And that way, you're spreading your bets, man. You're diversifying your portfolio. And if the market goes up, you do well, but you just have to be willing to ride it out and not panic and be like, sell everything the day the stock takes a dip, which is also another dumb thing I've done.
I tell everyone I know, this is not investment advice because everyone's goals are different, but all my family and everyone, VOO, just put it in once a week or once a month, whatever. And over time, you're up 10% a year. You're going to have your down years. If you don't look at it,
that's the key. That's really the
don't
key.
Look at it, especially years like this. Don't look at it. Actually, this year has been good. Last year was a bad year. No.
It's just crazy, man. I mean, but they don't teach this stuff. They didn't teach stuff when we were kids. I mean, again, we saw it in TV and movies. You go and watch the movie Wall Street, and you're like, I think people get really rich off the stock market thing. I remember calling a broker, I think after I saw the movie Wall Street, and I was like, hey, how do I got paper out? How can I put some money into this? And they're like, is this a class project? I don't care about your $10 you want to put into the stock market. But now you could do it online. Back in the day, you had to call a stockbroker, get involved in a brokerage, pay a commission. Now it's it's kind of scary easy how easy it is.
Yeah. And if anyone listening, if you ever need any help or anything, just let me know. I'll happy to help.
I think this is funny, Raj. I know you're starting this altruistic. I think 5 years from now, Matt, Raj is going to be like Tom Vu and buying infomercials and be like, you're afraid to be rich. Look at me. I'm out here on the golf course. See this car? This is my toy. You see these women? They're around me because I have money. You deserve to be poor. Call me.
Maybe. That's the goal.
Full heel turn Raj.
Those Tom Vu infomercials are on YouTube. Those are amazing from the 90s.
They're hilarious.
Yeah, he plays poker now. I wonder, I'd like to meet Tom Vu in Vegas. But I think he got busted for doing something. So now he plays cards for a living.
Oh gosh.
Well, there you have it.
Tons of hate from AEW people today.
Oh my God, Raj, why do you do it? Why do you poke the bear?
They are sensitive. They are a sensitive bunch.
What happened? What I missed?
I said the pay-per-view tonight did not have a good build. Is there a single match tonight where you're like, oh, I gotta go watch it? Where you're.
If Ed shows up, or pardon me, if Adam Copeland shows up, I think that's why people are tuning in.
But it's you have your top draw. MJF is facing the Righteous. I don't even know who the Righteous
What's the Righteous?
Yeah, exactly.
The Ring of Honor guys.
Okay.
They're actually talented, but what is her name?
But
yes, know what I mean. Maria Kanellis' husband, Mike.
Oh, Mike Bennett.
I know.
No, that's the Kingdom.
Oh,
this is the Righteous.
Isn't he part of the Righteous?
No.
Tell me who it is then.
Okay,
I don't know.
Let's see.
I thought it was the guys coming out with Roddy each week.
Someone named Dutch.
What? Are you sure it's not a Ring of Honor pay-per-view?
Let's see.
No, it's AEW.
I don't know.
I watch it each week. I'm not BSing.
That's what I'm saying. But I got tons of hate for bringing that up.
MJF's in a handicap match. I know that. I'm so stupid.
Against two guys. Total waste of his drawing power.
Those are two guys that are pushing around Roddy in the wheelchair. Mike Bennett being one of them, who's really good and underrated.
The Rice's Vincent and Dutch. Is that it?
Oh, Vincent, who was with TNA for a little bit. I know who that is.
No, I'm not seeing that on. That's Champions. Yeah, he was in Impact at Hard to Kill.
Yeah, he's 2022. He's a charismatic dude. He's very weird looking. He looks different from others.
Very weird.
No, in a good way. He sticks out. I did a promo with him when I went back to TNA for like their 20-year anniversary or whatever it was. Dollar Store Bray Wyatt. That was horrible. That was very mean. Whoever wrote that.
Yes, West 4, you should be ashamed of yourself. I think AEW started out really strong. It's just starting to remind me, like as a kid, I was a Marvel Comics fan, and then I would open DC, and I'm just like, there's just too much here to learn all at once.
Okay, but there is. But MJF, you guys don't think he's that good?
Oh, he's great.
That entertaining. Like, he has these people chanting the weirdest things in a million years. No other wrestler
he's phenomenal.
Get the audience to chant.
Their top guys are good.
Things.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just saying it's deep. Though. It's just now with Ring of Honor involved, it's such a deep roster.
It is. But from my money,
8,000 titles now.
I'm just gonna be real with you guys. If you said, "Hey, Matt, you have $5, you could spend it on just whatever dollar amount. Any wrestler you want to watch today, who would it be?" For me, it'd be him, all around because of promos and his wrestling. Yeah, and the shape he's gotten himself in. He's phenomenal. He's a star.
MJF and Roman are my guys. Those are the two.
Roman too.
I don't know. I mean, I'm still ride or die for NXT. I thought last night No Mercy was incredible. Just start to finish. So Carmelo Hayes launched the championship. Dragunov is now NXT champion. Ooh, Becky Lynch retained in an Extreme Rules match against Tiffany Stratton. That was phenomenal.
Tiffany Stratton's going to be a huge star.
She's going to be. Yep, I was going to say the same thing. Yep.
D'Angelo and Stax retained on the tag titles. Trick Williams defeated Dominic Mysterio, is now the North American champion. So Trick has a title. Melo doesn't now.
Why did they have Dominic lose the title? That wasn't smart.
I think it was Trick's time, man. No, it was. Yeah.
Dom has been raising those ratings. Like,
I know. Why would they have him lose that belt?
Trick is over, dude. If you watch the last few weeks of NXT, like Trick is so over.
He's a great promo too. He's a star in my opinion. But like Dom, you don't beat Dom yet.
And sleeper news coming out of this: Joe Gacy, now Schism is no more. Joe Gacy's looking for new purpose, and he set Ava Raine free. So The Rock's daughter now might be a singles star in the NXT women's division.
And we'll get away from that weird gimmick they had her doing, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't doing it. Wasn't working for her.
Yeah. Dude, NXT is so much fun. It's so it's the most fun I have watching wrestling week in and week out. Just because it's silly. But Matt, it's not like it was when we were covering it with AEW when it was trying to be AEW, you know, and it was all that. Like now it's back to just crazy characters. They're amazing wrestlers, but there's just some silly shit going on, you know, that makes it entertaining. And then you got stuff like Braun Breaker still there. Baron Corbin beat Braun Breaker last night. That's huge. I was very surprised by that. Yeah.
Why did they do that?
Baron Corbin beat Braun Breaker?
Beat Braun Breaker, yeah.
That seems stupid.
It was a good pay-per-view last night. No Mercy was really good. And they had an amazing intro package that looked like the No Mercy video game for N64.
The best wrestling video game of all time.
Yeah. It's good, man. NXT. It's where it's at. It's the thing I'm happiest to cover in the world of wrestling. Never going to watch. I'm sorry?
I will be watching AEW tonight.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, man.
It's on right now.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Follow Matt at BP Matt Morgan, Rogers at the Raj Giri. I'm Matt Glenn Rubenstein. Next week, Freddy versus Jason. We're going to talk Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the horror movies of our childhood.
But not that exact movie. We're talking about this separate.
Yeah, I mean, it'll come to that. You don't have to watch all of them. I'm sure you remember.
But should I watch Freddy versus Jason?
No.
I like Freddy versus... You didn't like
that? No, you got to go back. If you want to do this right, watch the real first three Nightmare on Elm Street.
2 is a trip, but Dream Warriors is, I think Dream Warriors is the best.
Gave me strength as a little kid to think I had a fighting chance when these nightmares now. Yes.
First one was with Johnny Depp, right? That was
first one's scary.
Yeah. That's the best of all time.
Watch what you feel like watching. We'll dive into it next week, and then we'll do more scary stuff for the month of Halloween. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you like the show, please do us a favor. Please subscribe on YouTube. Even if you're listening to the audio, please subscribe on YouTube and check it out. And tell a friend. I know people are slowly learning that the three of us are back together doing this, but we would love for more people to find out. Thanks to everyone for hanging in the chat with us today. This was a lot of fun, and we'll get you back here next time on Gigantic Pop. Take care.